2 days after my mother's devastating call, I drove past my childhood home out of habit and instantly knew something had changed. The locks gleamed with new brass, sharp in the sunlight, and my old key no longer fit. The tumblers refused me, as though the house itself had decided I no longer belonged. I sat motionless in the car, staring at the perfect lawn, the dying rose bushes my mother once tended with pride. Even decay obeyed her sense of order. Mrs. Henderson, our old neighbor, passed by with her dog. She hesitated when she saw me, her polite wave uncertain, almost guilty. That small pause stung more than words. Had Victoria already rewritten the story, announced my exile as though pruning an unwanted branch? My cheeks burned. I turned the key, drove away, and didn't look back. That evening, I tried calling Brooke. My voice trembled on her voicemail. "I don't know what I did that was so terrible, but please call me." She never did. Her silence said what she couldn't. She'd chosen my mother's side. So I did what I always did, buried myself in work. At Velmark Automation, no one cared about appearances or lineage. Numbers didn't judge. My director, Gregory Walsh, noticed my exhaustion. "You've been off your game," he said, leaning on my cubicle. I smiled thinly. "Just family things." He nodded, half understanding, and reminded me of the Orion presentation next week. I promised I'd be ready. Work became my armor, my rhythm, my way of not feeling. Then, one late evening, an email appeared. Benjamin Harris, Northwell Financial Services. The message was brief, sterile, professional. A recent passing connected to your family. My pulse quickened. A single thought formed: my father. When Harris confirmed it by phone the next morning, the words felt both unreal and inevitable. My father, Robert Parker, was gone. I remembered his quiet gestures, his absence disguised as peacekeeping, his small, awkward love, and now he was nothing but paperwork. Harris explained that a clause in the will named me as a secondary beneficiary. Secondary, of course. Even in death, my father had to balance the scales my mother built. Friday, I met Harris in a glass building that gleamed like a mirror. He was calm, measured, with kind eyes that made the sterile air bearable. After I signed the documents, he handed me an envelope, cream-colored, my name written in my father's hand. Inside, a single letter. "Dear Wendy, I'm sorry. I should have protected you. I saw your strength even when I pretended not to. Don't let her take that from you. There's a cabin in Middlebury. It's yours. I kept it separate so you'd have one place that's truly your own. From Dad." My hands trembled. I remembered that cabin, the scent of pine, the sunlight on the lake, the feeling of a world untouched by perfection. For the first time in years, something inside me loosened. As I left the building, the city shimmered in the autumn haze. I didn't know what waited at that lake: memories, ghosts, or silence. But I knew one thing for certain: whatever I found there would finally be mine. Epilogue. The road to Middlebury wound through miles of forest, the autumn leaves burning gold beneath a pale sky. Wendy drove with the windows down, the cool air filling the silence that once felt unbearable. By the time the lake appeared between the trees, stilling glass-like, she felt something inside her unclench. The cabin stood just as she remembered, weathered, quiet, smelling of pine and old summers. When she pushed the door open, dust motes danced in the slanting light. On the mantel, a photograph of her as a child still stood, her father behind her, one hand steady on her shoulder. She touched the frame gently, then set it back in its place. Outside, the lake shimmered. Wendy stepped on the porch, breathing in the crisp air. The reflection of the trees rippled across the water, endless and calm. For the first time in years, she felt the ache inside her begin to loosen. Not because everything was fixed, but because she no longer needed it to be. The world was still turning, and she was still here.